All right, my friends, let's try this again. This is cut number 2. The first one didn't turn out so well, but we'll rock and roll again. Vincent Rose here, the Fat Killer with H2G Fitness, coming to you from my patio. And the title of this talk is The Outside Voice of the Parent Becomes the Inside Voice of the Children, right? And this is an extremely important topic to talk on, and hopefully it reaches you and it reaches you well, right? I am a dad, right? I have been blessed to become a father, and I have a 6-year-old son, Samuel, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, right? And we are all responsible for the programming in our life and what it is that we make of ourselves. And this is true for anybody that is like 20 years old or older, right? But for the first phase of your life, you truly do get a whole lot of programming from your parents. You truly do get a whole lot of influence through the people who raise you. You truly do get a whole lot of your belief systems, your values, your morals, your ethics, your work ethic, your determination, your commitment, your belief systems from the people who raised you, right? And it is a very true statement that the outside voice of the parent becomes the inside voice of the children. And it never ceases to amaze me to hear the things that people say to their children. And every word that comes out of your mouth, your children hear. And when they hear it, and if they hear it often enough, and if they hear it strongly enough, they begin to believe it, and it'll begin to program them, and it'll begin to influence who they are and how they think, right? So I truly do, if you are a parent, want you to think about the things that you tell your children. I want you to think about the things that you're putting into their minds. I want you to think about the things that you're sowing into their hearts, because being a parent is a huge responsibility. And I mean, this is the reason why I teach so much on succeeding. This is the reason why I teach so much on accomplishing your goals. This is the reason why I teach so much on, paying attention to the things that you put into your mind. This is the reason that I teach so much on the standards that you hold in your life. Because your children are watching you every step of the way. And who they are going to become, what they are going to be, the things that they're going to achieve is going to be very much so based on what it is they see as an example that you set. Whether you realize this or not, you are an example for each and every person that you come across, but especially your children. Why? They're going to be around you a bunch. And whether you want to be an example or not, you are. And whether or not you are a good or a bad example is up to you. So your outside voice becomes the inner voice of your child. I want you to think about the things that you say to your children. Do you encourage them? Do you lift them up? Do you build them up? Do you tell them things about themselves that they're successful, they're great, they're powerful, they're overcomers, they're achievers, they're go-getters, they're goal setters, they're world changers, they're servers, they're givers, they're helpers, they're influencers of others, they're motivators? Do you sow these words into your children's heart? Or do you just get on them and nag at every little thing that they do wrong? Look, we all do things wrong. Here's a tip, so do you. And hopefully you don't have somebody that's, griping down your neck every time you screw up. You don't need to gripe down your kid's neck every time they screw up. You're not supposed to raise your children. You're supposed to equip them. And you're supposed to equip them for this thing called life. And you do that by the things that you teach them. And you teach them things by the things that you say. And I want you to take a very close inventory about the way you speak to your children. I have seen many a times people that I love dearly around their children, whenever they screw up, say things to them that are very damaging. They will say things like, "You're being weak, you're a loser, you don't do that, you're acting bad, quit misbehaving, quit being a brat, quit being a little ish," right? And every time you start speaking these negative words over your child, you're reinforcing in them that that is who they are. Does my kid screw up? Yeah, he screws up. He's 6 years old and he's a boy, right? He's full of pee and vinegar. He's bouncing off walls. He's doing all types of crazy stuff. But I always bring him back down and say, "Hey, calm down real quick and let me teach you something," right? I'm not raising my son, I'm equipping my son. And I'm not just equipping my son, I'm leading by example in a way that I live my life that he can duplicate and learn from the way that I live my life so that he knows how to live his. Kids soak up everything you say or do. Jennifer Waters, that is 100% true. Again, the title of this talk is "The Outer Voice of the Parent Becomes the Inner Voice of the Children." What do you say to your child? Do you breathe life into them? Do you encourage them? Do you build them up? Or do you tear them down, discourage them, talk bad about them, tell them how much they're misbehaving, that they're being a little whatever, and do that whole deal? I'm going to encourage you not to do that. When you speak to your child, you need to be uplifting. You need to be encouraging. You need to be loving. You need to be motivating. You need to be the biggest cheerleader that they have in their lives. When they do something good, you need to reinforce it. You need to give them an attaboy. You need to pat them on the back. You need to give them a hug. You need to tell them that you're proud of them. You need to reaffirm that they're good. And when they screw up, which they will, don't beat them down for it. Just say, "Hey, what you did is wrong. You don't need to do that anymore. If you continue to do that, I'm not going to be proud of you. But want to know what? That's not who you are. You're a good kid. You do listen. You do obey. You are smart. You are intelligent. You are bright. You are a cut above the rest. You do have great things that are going to be happening in your future. I know that you just, had a little bit of a hiccup, but it's going to be okay. And you need to breathe life into your children versus just tearing them down. And I will also encourage you, because again, the outer voice of the parent becomes the inner voice of the children. Pay attention to what you allow them to watch, read, listen to. Do you allow them to listen to crap music? Do you watch things on the TV that are not positive, that they are observing and watching, that are going into their brain? Do you take a close inventory of the kids that they hang out with? Are you doing any and all things that you can do to make sure that they're living in the best neighborhood and going to the best schools? Vincent, that costs money. Yes, it does. You need to make more money to make sure that they're living in a safe place and that they're being brought up in schools that are actually worth a dang. It's important. Because here's a tip. Before your children are here, you're living for you. But after your children are here, you're living for them. They didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask for you and your significant other to do whatever it is that you did on one night full of passion, and 9 months later they're here. They didn't ask to be born. But now they are. And now they're your responsibility. And now your needs, to a degree, they're put on the back burner. And theirs need to be put on the front burner. Monique Rodriguez, as parents, we need to show them confidence And we need to show them how to be the best that they can be. Yes, we do. They learn that by one way and one way only. Our example. What is the example that you set for your child? What is your tonality throughout the day? Do you show them that you're in a bad mood more than you're in a good mood? Do you show them that you have a strong work ethic, or do you show them that you're lazy? Do they see you watching TV more than they see you chasing your dreams? Do they see you uplifting people, or do they hear you talking bad about them? When you go to the grocery store, are you finding positive things to say about people that are in the marketplace? Or are you just like, do you see that idiot? Do you see what they just did? Oh my God, they're so crazy. They're so blah, 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 blah. And you just speak garbage out of your mouth. Every word spoken out of your mouth, others hear. And you hear. And when you hear something and you continue to hear it, 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 I'm going to keep going, you continue to hear it, and if you hear it enough, guess what? You believe it. And so do your kids. Set a proper example for your children. When you're around them, be upbeat, be enthusiastic, be motivated, be a go-getter. Walk quickly, don't walk slowly. Have your shoulders up, not down. Be upbeat, not depressed. Speak words of life, not death. Because your children are watching every move that you make. They're listening to every word that you speak. And if you're walking around with a loser's limp, and if you're not succeeding in life, you are going to successfully duplicate yourself through your children. Your habits will be passed down to your kids. If you have a problem with drinking and you do that in front of your children, guess what? They're going to drink. If you have a problem with smoking and you do that around your children, guess what? They're going to smoke. If you have a problem with cursing and you do that around your children, guess what? They're going to curse. If you have a lousy work ethic and you show that example in front of your children, guess what? They're going to be lazy. If you don't take studying and becoming better and more than what you are seriously, your kids are going to pick up on those bad habits. But they will pick up on your good habits too. And the message is, start developing good habits in your life and start teaching them to your children. There are 4 areas of your life that are more important than any other areas of your life. You have the area of faith. You have the area of family and or friendships. You have the area of finances, and you have the area of fitness. Your children are watching the way that you do or do not make money and the way that you do or do not save or spend your money. And it's probably a safe bet that they are going to rise or fall to the level of your financial success or doom. If you're busted, your children are probably going to grow up to be busted. Why? You instilled in them a broke mentality. You don't have that right. If you can't control your fork and you can't get your butt to the gym, and if you yourself physically are a mess, guess what? Your children are probably going to be out of shape. They're probably not going to be very athletic. They're probably going to have a higher body fat percentage than what they need to. They're probably going to develop or have a chance to develop diabetes at a very young age. There is nothing more sickening than a fat child. Why? Because it's not the kid's fault. When you see a 7-year-old that is overweight, that's not the 7-year-old's fault. That is the mom and dad's fault for bringing crap food into the house, feeding that to their kid, and making them fat. It is your poor habits that have produced poor lifestyle in your child. But if you eat healthy, if you get your butt to the gym, if you are in shape, guess what? Your child's probably going to want to do that too. My kid wants to do nothing more than to grow up and have muscles. Why? He sees his dad with muscles. And is it important to be a muscular dude walking around? No, that's a